Film Masters continues its cannonball firing at full velocity of releasing long neglected films that are either public domain or never really got a great video release, or certainly had never had a good Blu-ray release, with the infamous The Crippled Masters from 1979. Directed by Chin Lo and starring Sung-Chuan, Shen, and Chao-Ming Kang. Not that that's how they're credited in the film. This is a martial arts film starring two men with physical disabilities. It is a man with no arms, although technically he was a victim of the thalidomide thing that happened back in the 50s, I believe it was, where people were born with stunted limbs, small growths, flipper babies, they called them in less sensitive time. This man has that, so he doesn't have no arms, but he has very little in the way of arms, and a man who has no use of his legs. So it's a man. The way they advertise this normally, the tagline, the log line is, two martial artists, one with no arms and one with no legs, and they're both going to kick your ass. So this is a film about that. It has seen previous video release, never very good video release. It was always sort of one of those movies that was sort of talked about in whispered tones, and oh my God, have you seen that movie? Because it's very unusual. Now, it's in light of the booklet, made me think about this film differently, actually. I just read the booklet before I sat down to record this, and we'll get to all the extras. So how is this film presented? It is widescreen, like it should be. It has audio is DTS Master Audio 2.0 Mono. DTS HD Master 2.0 Audio, Dolby Digital 2.0 Mono, and a Mandarin language track. That's an alternate. It's in English. It's English dubbed. You can also listen to it with the Mandarin language track. There are English SDH subtitles, which is sound descriptive subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. So if you hear a creaky door open but you don't see it, it says creaky door opens, in addition to the regular subtitles. And there is a commentary subtitle track, which is kind of cool for people who are deaf and hard of hearing. I love that they have SDH subtitles for the main feature. And guess what? If people who are deaf and hard of hearing want to experience the commentary, they're going to need subtitles for that too. So I love that Film Masters is really forward thinking in putting that on there, because I don't know of too many other, unless the commentary is in another language, I can't think of many other companies that do that. So the on-screen title is The Crippled Master, singular. And the basic story is a man is disarmed by the flunky of a bad guy and left to fend for himself. He ultimately meets up with a guy who's going to train him, and then the same bad guy pours acid over the legs of another guy who is a former flunky of his. Thus, this is how we get our two titular crippled masters. I get choked up when I say the word titular. So basically, both of our heroes are shown with arms and legs, at least briefly in the film, and we see them basically tortured or mutilated on screen. Not incredibly graphically, but graphically enough that it's uncomfortable. And they eventually join together with the help of an elderly yoga master who can contort himself into incredibly tiny spaces, and decide to get revenge on the bad guy who did this to them. So like most martial arts movies, someone is wronged. There's a whole lot of training to get ready to get for the wrongee to get the wronger. So it's hard to watch at times, very distasteful at times. But the two guys kick ass in this movie. To see a guy with no arms per se, utilizing a staff and beating the crap out of somebody with skill, to see a guy with no legs just going at it and taking people out, and when they combine together at the end of the movie, it's something you've never seen before, and it's pretty amazing. So it's quite the film. I don't say that I would love this film. It's probably not one that I'm going to watch again, honestly, because of how kind of gruesome some moments are. Not because it has the disabled guys, because that's really cool that they did that. And apparently they were in several films together over the years. I think they made maybe 3 or 4 films total, and it's quite an achievement. It's cool. It shows you the power of sticking to something and being able to. The world might tell you can't do something, and you might tell the world back, oh yeah, we'll take a look at this. So extras on this. We have a commentary by Justin DeClue and Will Sloan of the Important Cinema Club and Gold Ninja Video. They're great. This is the first time I'd seen them do a commentary on something that wasn't a Gold Ninja Video release, and they're really good. They're really into it. They're fans of this movie. They point out when this film is really inappropriate in terms of today's mindset. They point out all kinds of stuff. It's a very informative and entertaining commentary track. It is not laughing at the movie. I'm not a fan of commentary tracks that are just making fun of the film, and this is absolutely not that. They have fun with the film, but it's seriously good. There is a documentary. This is a really good documentary, short, 31 minutes, so maybe not that short. Kings of Kung Fu Releasing the Legends documentary with Chris Pajali, my close personal friend Chris Pajali, co-author of These Fists Break Bricks. And if you like what I'm talking about and you like martial arts movies and you don't know that book, you really want to find that book. It's about how martial arts films came to America and just exploded in popularity, how they were released here and all that. So this is really about some of the big milestones in martial arts films coming to America, the theaters that played them, vintage trailer clips, vintage photos of the theaters. It's a really solid documentary. It could serve as a documentary trailer for the book for all it's worth. There's a Something Weird trailer compilation. It's 18 minutes long. It's 4:3 letterbox, so it's old standard def stuff of just vintage kung fu trailers. There is the 2024 recut trailer for the Crippled Masters, which they took the original trailer and the trailer audio, and they took their new transfer and basically replaced the shots from the old one, so it looks good. That's 4 minutes. There is the original raw scan of the Crippled Masters. So this film was restored from the only print that could be found, which was beat up, scratched, nicked, and had foreign subtitles. And they present to you the original scan before they did their restoration. And it's pretty amazing because apparently they were able to remove subtitles from the entirety of this film. And when you watch the regular presentation of the film on here, I never would have known there were subtitles on there. There is one thing I will say, though. In watching this restoration, there were times where there was this weird, like, red speckle pattern in the image. It's nothing that you would notice if you weren't looking for it, and my eye might be more finely attuned to that due to being involved with film and transfers and all that stuff. It wasn't really a bad thing, but it was the kind of thing that I wondered if that was a result of having to do severe color correction or severe image processing or something, because it didn't look like it was inherent in the original print. It looked like it was sort of an artifact from a video source or something. Not a big deal, and only very occasionally, and I have a sizable TV I'm looking at it on, so the average person probably will never notice it, but I just want to point that out. The original scan, it's cool to watch it that way. It's more grindhousey, if you will. It doesn't look egregious. It's just got lines and scratches and nicks and dirt and dust and all the stuff that you'd have if you were seeing this movie in a theater, let's say 3 or 4 years after it came out, which these movies played for a really long time. 1979 always feels late for me in the retro kung fu bag, but they really carried on in that style for quite a while. There's the Crippled Masters original trailer that's 4 minutes. It kind of looks YouTube sourced, and it has German or Dutch subtitles on the image, and that's also under the title The Crippled Master, singular. That's on there. And then there's the Crippled Masters before and after restoration demo. I am a sucker for restoration demos. I love seeing the miracles that can be worked with film restoration and digital image processing, so it's really cool to see that. That's 2 minutes. And then you get the booklet, which I've aforementioned booklet, which is really cool. This is the disc, by the way. I mean, you've already seen that graphic, but I love that Film Masters utilizes always some of the original poster art for a film. I would say there's nothing better to sell the film than what sold the film to audiences originally, and then you get that artwork on there and on the booklet. And the booklet has 2 articles, one about how the film print was found, and then one by a person who was doing sort of disabled or This, it was called. It was a film series in New York that basically took films about people with disabilities that were overcoming their disabilities to say, yeah, the narrative doesn't have to be pity. It can be empowerment and people just getting GSD, as I like to say. G stands for get, and D is done, and I'm not going to say what the S does. But anyway, that's a really cool article. The booklets that Film Masters puts in with their releases are always cool. So available now from Film Masters. If you're a fan of martial arts, if you're a fan of extreme cinema, let's say, or cult cinema, it's one to check out. It is, even though personally, I probably won't watch it again, it is The Crippled Masters.